Welcome back to another episode of the After Dark. You as always are joined by me, Knil Hopper, and my somewhat lovely assistant, VanGuard.
Hey,
Somewhat lovely. Not really lovely at all. You're quite repulgent, actually.
Oh, thanks, as always.
So I've made something even worse than what you look like tonight, and it made me feel very horrible.
Another scar on your soul.
It feels like a scar to my soul. I may have done... It could almost be counted as a sin in the world of art.
Be the next Hitler. Get kicked out of art school. Go kill some Jews.
Why am I killing Jews? Because this is not a good way to...
Probably not.
Maybe not. As the title probably suggests, this is the After Dark talks about Dead Space 3.
Woo!
Yeah, I know it's a bit of an older topic. The game has come and gone. People have said their things, but I never really got my chance to give my opinion, and that's all I'm about. And I have just recently played a game for a review Vanguard, so...
Yep, that we did.
It's probably one of the worst ways to play it. I did better by myself, but hey.
Holding you down, begging you not to leave him behind while he's down. That's more of a challenge.
Yes. Even worse when you won't just get off the crafting bench.
I have to craft it to perfection.
You're a woman.
You
You are a woman.
Maybe.
We know what we're discussing? Let's dive straight in.
So, Dead Space 3. So we've got that Isaac who cares who he is, and the wonderful Sergeant John Carver leading in exploration. So we start off on the lunar city on the Earth's moon, where we break down Isaac's door.
Actually, we have a prologue, remember?
Oh yes, prologue.
Because everyone always remembers the prologue. Where we're instantly presented with an icy world, and we play as just a couple of Marines, was it?
Just some brave men who gave their lives. Spoilers.
Oh yes, this video will be filled with spoilers to anyone who hasn't figured that out yet. Instantly, because I played through the game first time on single player, playing through it on co-op, I got to see a nice change in what happens between the two characters that are always there present. Instead of this Marine who's not really giving his sports, you see him constantly talking between himself and his partner. And
some back and forwards.
And the communication that goes on between the two characters that will eventually go on between Isaac and Carver is quite amusing to actually just watch or listen to.
Had a fair bit of fun. Just listen to them.
It certainly helps with the dynamic of the game. We then come up to the spaceship, this what looks like a crashed spaceship, and are immediately presented with a new type of necromorph. I don't know what to call them. They carry tomahawks, but in the very first Dead Space, the people behind the game makers had named all the necromorphs. Lurkers, which were the baby type creatures with tentacles in the backs, and so forth. In this game, I couldn't imagine any names. Dead Space 2, I learned of the Predators. That's about it. Dead Space 3, anything new? Doesn't get a name. Best way I can describe this is frozen marine soldier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just confused as to why they were all carrying tomahawks or picks or whatever they were. I mean, it's like, I don't know, a couple of 100 years in the future, and we're using pickaxes. What? I guess maybe we reverted a little bit, or...
don't think I've ever really seen any game tackle the future quite that well. Not many games can do it. Dead Space does well at times, but at other times it just forgets that it's so far in the future that we should probably have some replacement to this now.
Plasma cutters. You'd think they'd be using that kind of stuff.
I suppose they just need some weapon to give some sort of Eskimo type enemy.
Suppose.
You go aboard ship after killing your first couple of necromorphs. Right there. Difference between single player and multiplayer. You got grabbed by a necromorph and I was able to save you by shooting it off you.
Yeah.
It's a quite odd ability. You go through Dead Space by yourself. Always having to watch your own back. In co-op, you can just shoot the necromorphs off your teammate. Quite
handy, especially when they want to rip your helmet off and just go right down your throat. You're losing that battle against them. Just shoot them off your partner.
I got an achievement for saving your life by picking you up off the ground.
Woo!
You picked me up approximately...
once.
This is because you lost your man card.
Yes.
Immediately afterwards, we get something called the Codex. The ship explodes, and next thing we know, we're treated to a nice little action scene of tumbling down a mountain with the ship chasing after us. It's quite fun compared to most of the scenes on the mountains. The cutscene at the very end was amusing, but your character died. We didn't even realize that until we had finished the chapter.
Yeah.
It was hard to tell they died, but when playing through the first time, I know I go up to the sergeant shoots you through the head, and that's how it ends the chapter. I expected him to shoot the both of us, or you to agree with the sergeant, but I didn't expect you to just die halfway through a cutscene before we even get up to him.
Yeah, I thought I escaped somewhere and just flying. You're dead. No way. I'm already dead? What?
I will say they have a bit of work to do with the co-op scenes. We'll get to a bit on that more later. So back to what you were saying. We're now treated to Isaac in the Lunar City. Prologue took 200 years before the actual start of Chapter 1. Alright?
So, the great and powerful Sergeant John Carver, hero of the entire franchise.
Yes. We are introduced to a new character on Clarkson, but getting back to Isaac, my personal favourite.
Isaac who?
He has obviously seen the wear and tears on his mind after over the years or months since the Titan incident. Now, you may not notice, but during the first and second game, the total time between each game was, well, to Isaac is maybe a couple of weeks, a year, but he barely remembers it, so to him, it's almost like, after the first game, he wakes up in the ship, maybe to him the next day. That's it. That's all that matters to him. He hasn't got time to just relax or sort his own mind out. He is literally thrown right back into the action, takes everything on. But here in the third game, he's had all this time to think, to finally figure out what's been going on, and time finally just sit down, get it all out, and now he's just done with it. We see he's completely over it. He has gone his separate way from Ellie instantly. Ellie is someone he made Dead Space 2 Vanguard and hooked up with, and now he's just pushed her away because this whole incident with the Necromorphs has just gone to.
Yeah.
Comes John Carver and his douchebag of a captain. He comes in asking about Isaac Clarke, wanting his help, and telling him that Ellie has gone missing, and if Isaac wants to help save her, he has to come with him. You know, I really hate love interests in anything. Movies, games, almost anything.
I guess. Is it a sign of weak storytelling that you need to go rescue the damsel in distress?
It's hard to imagine what would throw a man like Isaac Clarke back into Necromorphs. But is he really still scared of Necromorphs? Or is he just afraid of dying? I kind of want more feelings on what he... I kind of want to know more about what his feelings towards Necromorphs or about the incident, what it truly did to him. Is he just scared of dying, or is he scared of Necromorphs? The game was designed to be horror originally. It may not be that way anymore, but as a horror game, you have to imagine your character in the game is scared as well.
Yeah, it's just an action game now, really.
I'd rather come back to that word, the action game, a bit later. I would rather carry on. But that is a topic I want to bring up soon and discuss. We walk out with John Carver, Isaac, having a bit of friendly conversation, and we're immediately treated to the same thing we got from the two Marines. We're seeing it's nice to see the lovely change of Isaac just thinking to himself and not telling the audience, us, what he's thinking. But with co-op, he can suddenly just tell Carver what's on his mind. We get treated to a lot more dialogue throughout the game.
That's something I really like about Dead Space. Pretty much any other co-op game that comes to mind, basically exact same story, but Dead Space 3, little changes like that, and other things we'll get to.
So, once we leave the building that Isaac and Carver were located in, we are immediately attacked by unitologists. In the first game, the only unitologist you really knew of was one man. He basically killed himself overnight. The second game, a couple of unitologists try to break you out of your where you're being held in the medical area and try and kidnap you. All they did though was point a gun at you. But now, here in the third game, after all this time has passed, they are basically your only enemy besides the Necromorphs. They have guns pointed at you. They're trying to blow you up with grenades. They're trying to stasis you. And the unitologists have finally become a true threat. It is later discussed that they have managed to wipe out EarthGov, the last line of defense. Well, John Carver and his captain and his team, they're the last EarthGov members.
Foreign thought to me. I mean, a band of basically rebels destroys an entire empire, civilization, really.
I wouldn't know anything that possible. The only best solution I have is, during the next chapter, as he captures Isaac, shoots who I thought was you, and I was kind of laughing about that, he basically releases the marker located on the Lunar City, which, by the way, I don't get it. If Isaac is trying to escape the markers, why is he in a city where one of them is located?
Well, did he know, or the research facility, wasn't it?
Yes, he had to have known.
Guess just everywhere.
The way that, Danzo, was it?
Yeah.
The way Danzo just blows up and creates necromorphs, that's the only way I can really see Earth-Gov being destroyed, by him just constantly breaking out the markers. Chapter 3, finally, and we are now reintroduced to the necromorphs we know and hate. Good old things with blades sticking out of their arms, trying to kill you. Did kill you.
Only 3-4 dozen times.
Hey, like, you're just readjusting into the game. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been forever since I played number 1, and I forgot you have to shoot the damn limbs off instead of aiming for the center of the mass.
Now that is always quite a different change. And the weapons the game provides you this time around, a lot of machine guns, a lot of new things. I just can't get away from the plasma gun. No matter what. It's the only thing I can be sure of that's going to rip through a limb. Maybe the electric boa, maybe... Oh, I did find a fan favorite weapon later. I constructed a shotgun together with a flamethrower and just powered it up as much as I could. That and a plasma cutter is all I wanted for a game.
So much OP.
Oh, like, if you had the ammo, burn a necromorph. It stuns them, just burns everything. You don't need to go for limbs, you just burn everything. Oh, the addition of changeable weapons in the game was a nice change. Bit annoyed that they took away the money that you used to have, but since you're no longer in Titan or on the Ishimura where you can use currency, they had to make the change.
And I'm Tal Volantis now, what we presume to be the Marker homeworld.
What we presumed. Anyway, after fumbling about throughout the Lunar City, we managed to reconnect the train. I taught you about telekinesis, and we get on board, go through a lot of humans. That's about it. We get on the ship and we get out of there.
Yeah?
Really?
Just run?
Just run. I mean, no, we're not going to try and destroy the marker. What are we, heroes?
I'll leave that to the Master Chief.
Think Master Chief could take on the necromorphs?
The Flood is scarier than the necromorphs.
Good point. Oh, I dread any flood level.
I mean, I love the Flood.
You used to love the flood. You're a flood lover.
Yes, I am. I'm a flubber.
That sounds wrong. For the first time in a long time of any Dead Space history I've ever saw, we are treated to a scene where basically our character goes from one area to another, and there's a small loading screen in between. Throughout Dead Space 2, it's all just one continuous game. Chapter leaks into the next chapter. Dead Space 1, you know where you're going. You're never just suddenly at some random new place. But Dead Space 3, we went from the Lunar City to a whole another location on board a ship. First time Dead Space is actually just taking you from one location to another. Not counting from the Ishimura to the planet that Ishimura was cracking from Dead Space 1, of course. We get to finally learn a bit more about our new addition to the game, John Carver here. And it seems like his story is going to revolve around him and his children, if he, according to the video log that's in there.
Yeah, I'm just surprised at how those video and text logs got to the planet, which we presumably haven't been to before. Am I a time traveler, or...?
No, like, I don't know if you were paying attention, but, okay, every time we went for a co-op mission, besides maybe the first one I think took place on our ship, even though it doesn't look like our ship. But basically, you go onto a ship, and suddenly, your character is hearing a voice. When we finally get to the last room, he sees, what did you tell me you saw?
I saw freaking giant-ass toy soldiers.
Now, I had told you I didn't see him. I did not see him.
I thought you were messing with me for a while there, just you could, but...
I didn't realize it until we got to the second co-op mission, where you see this woman running, right? That's what you told me?
Yeah, just kind of a small cutscene. She says my name and runs off throughout the mission. We're just chasing her. She's just around the corner, just ahead.
It's not until I tell you I don't see that woman either that you have finally realized. You're seeing something that I don't get to see in the game.
That was just mind-blowing on...
I wasn't messing with you. The game was literally made so only you get this vision.
Yeah, what kind of a game developer does that? And goes for all that extra effort so that this first player can't see anything.
It's quite brilliant. It's an awesome new addition.
Yeah, replayability.
Not only that, but like, it's as you said before, new stuff when you have co-op. But to this extreme where it's actually vital to be player 2 to see these awesome stuff. It's not just some extra new jump height as player 2 or extra little bonus. You're getting full-on cutscenes, your own story.
That Luigi reference.
Poor Luigi. You know, I went to the shop the other day, and instead of New Super Mario Bros. Wii U, it's New Luigi Brothers Wii U, due to the year of Luigi.
What?
Seriously, that's what it is. The game completely removed Mario, gave the case a green cover, and put Luigi in Mario's place, and some invincible character in Luigi's place.
I gotta go check that out.
It's hilarious. Like, they have to remove Mario from the game to make Luigi a main character.
Poor Luigi. Just can't compete.
Hey, I enjoyed Luigi's Mansion. That was fun. Yeah, back in topic. Throughout the co-op mission, this one and the next, did these two co-op missions actually have anything different in them? No. During this one, all we were doing was walking through tunnels, and you were just you were seeing stuff, cakes and soldiers all the time.
Yeah, it's freaky. I mean, little banners saying "Happy Birthday, Dylan." All these questions arose, which were fairly obvious answers. Dylan, who is this guy? What did I do to this kid? My kid. Why am I having these visions?
Throughout the visions, I actually hear your character say stuff like he's yelling for Isaac, and Isaac's not responding. It's not until the mission's over that we get back in the elevator, which, before we started this whole mission, we were in the elevator, it shaked a bit, the lights went off, and your character started yelling. Then, as we're leaving, we get in the elevator, the lights start shaking, and all of a sudden, Isaac is shaking you, telling you to come back to your senses. And he's told you, we've been in this elevator stuck for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was something else altogether.
I suppose the effect is kind of ruined when you're player 1. Because, like, you are there. There's no doubt about that. So you just gotta use your imagination a little. But that does explain why the text logs are there, because it's technically all in your mind.
Yeah, I mean...
The text logs are meant to be picked up by player 2, because they're in your mind only. But then, we are given the worst thing imaginable in part 3 of the co-op missions, the final part. We are going through the same thing, except I go to open the door, and the most weird thing happens. You start fumbling around on the ground, not moving, and there are necromorphs coming everywhere out of the walls for you.
Yeah, I know. Sorry any of this being played too, but from my perspective, I'm just walking past a little marker, and all of a sudden, I go inside of my own brain, little neurons pumping, and I'm on this crazy, dreamlike far world, just a floating island, with all these toy cars and soldiers and a birthday cake and a couch and a Christmas tree and a single marker on the end. And all of a sudden, all these little demon nightmare things come at me.
Demon nightmare things.
Yeah, they're just little shadow creatures. And they're yay big, tall, and charging in mass. And I'm pretty terrible at the game, but I could hold them off. They just kept pushing me backwards, making me lose ground every time I reloaded.
Now, I say this is the worst thing possible because I'm okay, I can defend you all I want, and I imagine you could do the same. But since you have the harder situation, and you're... No offense, but you're not as decent at the game as me.
No.
So, no matter how well I'm doing, you fail, and I lose.
Over and over.
It's one of the more frustrating things out there because I can't help you, even if I knew what to do. And because we're doing this over PC instead of just Xboxes linked up next to near each other, we're not in the same house and we're not in the same place. We can't just pass the control on. I have to have faith that you can somehow manage to do this while I'm defending. I read up later online there are people who go through this 19 to 20 times and they just fail and give up. I'm at least happy that my co-op partner does not give up. You wanted to.
First two took me a try or two, but I got them pretty easy by, I didn't know what I was supposed to do, but I passed them.
So then I remembered back to playing through Dead Space 2, where what you described, this floating island with a marker on it somewhere, that's exactly what happens in Dead Space 2. Not exactly, but Isaac Clarke is having the visions in game number 2, like John Carver does in 3. And in the final chapter, you have to destroy a marker before Nicole, your dead ex-girlfriend, kills you. So it's pretty much the same thing, and I kept trying to explain to you. Eventually, you had realized you were actually doing something wrong.
You mean I'm not supposed to be killing these infinite little shadow monsters?
You done derped. You done goofed up. Done fricked up. How long were we stuck there?
A good 20 minutes at least. Use my rocket launcher on the damn marker. 6 times, not a scratch, and eventually just had to make a little rounds with my little plasma cutter, taking 2 or 3 shots each lap, while having a whole train of little shadow monsters chasing me, terrifying. I mean, you didn't even have time to turn around and shoot them or stasis them, because if you did, they'd catch up and...
Back all the way near the start of the game, we have the ship finally arriving at this... What would you call the area? The space area?
Scrap heap of...
A scrapyard? Like a space ship graveyard?
Yeah.
Anyway, we arrive at this sort of scrap graveyard place, and there are mines everywhere. Your ship gets torn to pieces. And Isaac suits up finally from which, by the way, it was a nice change to see him in regular clothes, but he's now suited up and he's in space, his space uniform sort of thing, and he's ready to go. Him and Carver, and then we are led through an awesome flying scene where we go to dodge and blow up mines, which it's all good by yourself, but with 2 people, only one of you has to mess up.
Yeah, one person shoots, the other drives. It's a bit harder shooting incoming mines when the other guy's trying to dodge him.
What also helps keep me going is quite the beautiful music that's happening through the scene.
Yeah. I mean, Jason Graves, the composer, did a marvelous job of that.
He did some really, I won't say he did a completely good job. He did some great songs in there. What really sticks out to me is you open the main menu, its music was nice. The song from the first official chapter where you're Isaac Clarke, when you're running for the Marines, that's a really good song. The Flying Through Space song, like the music in the background there as well, flying through space, dodging everything, that was pretty amazing too. And the last kind of song I remember was being on the ice planet as the snow starts to clear. That's all I remember though. That is it. Any other kind of music, there was variation. It doesn't stick out well enough. So while he did some amazing work, it felt kind of lacking a lot of,
bit of a hit and miss.
Yes. He did some amazing work here and there, but for the rest of the game, just not into it.
Well, there was a ending.
Oh, the ending was he behind the ending song, or was that just, ripped from something?
I don't really know.
If he did, then I'll give him that. The credits song is amazing.
Epic.
We finally arrive at one of these first spaceships we need to go through. And its importance is we go through it, we get the team established at the base, and we find Ellie.
I kept getting lost in space, unable to tell which way's up, where to go.
And then, we find out there's still necromorphs everywhere, and the important thing is we find a room with necromorph markings, marker markings, the marker language. Isaac can read it, and he's just saying this whole turn it off thing, and we get straight over the plot. But what I found amazing was just this big open space area you're allowed to fly around. Not a lot to do around there, you just gotta fly around. But that's okay, it's still very fun. It keeps you reminded you're in space.
Space!
Is that a Portal 2 reference?
A bad one, yeah.
Have you even played that game?
Yeah, Portal 2 is awesome.
We'll cooperate sometime.
Coming soon.
Eventually. So I think I just hit my mic. We immediately carry on to the next few ships. What's more noticeable is you only have one other destination to go to get everything done. Every other destination, 2 other destinations, they're side missions. But besides from the co-op side mission, the regular side missions, I think there's only ever been 2 that I've been interested in going into.
They're pretty underwhelming.
The first side mission that you should only really care to check out is the mid-station on it's a story about a guy called Taka. And essentially, he died 200 years ago. Yet here he is on the recordings telling you not to come kill him. But as you finally make it all the way to him, you find his dead body, and it turns out it's been recordings the whole time. And it's just very interesting to see that. That's a pretty cool story piece.
Contingency plans.
And
setting it all up.
In all honesty, that's the only side mission I'd really rather go through. As going through, we skipped all these side missions in co-op, but I had gone through them in single player. The next mission I can think of that's even worth your time, unless you really want the armors and parts from the side missions. Story-wise, the only one that's worth your time is the something about the Reapers. Some sort of marine group that are ultimate professionals. The story takes place mostly from this guy's perspective. Like, this is all through text logs, it's not recorded into awesome stuff like it was in the mid-station with Tucker. But through the text logs, you find out that these Reapers made this recruit go a whole week cleaning and scrubbing toilets with his bare hands, and then not having to wash his hands and go through the week just eating, doing stuff normally. And they would recruit him. The recruit, being who he was, believed him, wanting so badly to be a member of him.
Initiations. Not cool.
In the end, they showed they were just being dicks and said that the only way he would ever be a true member of the Reapers is if he was the last member ever. If he killed the current Reaper. The very next text log you found is him pronouncing that he had, in the Reaper's sleep, gone up to them and chopped them into pieces. And now he was officially the most strongest Reaper out there. It's kind of interesting in a deranged way, but it carries a lot of story to it. Aside from that, though, the other side missions don't stand out well enough for me to even bother with them. And I couldn't imagine any reason really to go play for them, besides the weapons and parts you can find, which I never really needed.
Yeah, you were already loaded up with a lot of stuff from the beginning.
Oh, that was co-op. Single player, I still didn't need it really. Side missions, like, discounted side missions, and getting back on track, we're in the final ship where we do anything in the game. And we're presented with a regenerating necromorph, which, from the first game, a regenerating necromorph is one of the scariest things out there. Only killable with fire, from a jet engine.
Incinerating.
Yep. And this game, on the same ship, throws two of them at you at once.
Yep. Me not realizing that they were invincible. I just shoot the arms on fire, they're regenerating. Okay, do it again. Oh shit, they're still coming at us.
And I had ran off already.
Yeah.
I told you to run, but you didn't listen.
Who runs from bad guys?
The ones that don't die.
That's a good point.
What I kind of didn't like about this game, though, is they were easy. So incredibly easy. There was no closed off space or nothing. And even with two, stasis, shoot their legs off. Yeah, let's just wait a little bit. Stasis, shoot their legs off. They need to be something bigger, something more powerful. And after the first game, there was just nothing about it that scared me.
Yeah, I mean, hell, the scariest parts were the delusions of the creepy birthday messages and toys and stuff.
And the reason why I suppose I'm rushing through all this is because this all feels like typical Dead Space 1 and 2 stuff. Stuff I've seen. And now finally getting back to the reason they made an action game, I want to discuss this now. The reason why I don't think Dead Space could survive as a horror was because those first few times going through spaceships, that is how players are expecting them to make them as horrors. It's not freaking us out. It's not scaring us. Because we know what the game can ultimately throw at us. Isaac Clarke knows what can be thrown at him. And just like Isaac Clarke, we learn. We're not going to make mistakes like that.
Getting used to it.
Exactly. Even a regenerated monster, we know how to deal with it now. There's not much you can throw at us to scare us.
No. And hell, to be honest, I didn't find the first game that scary at all, but...
Either did I, but a lot of people are saying that they have. Now,
I mean, different people find different things scary, but yeah.
I call it the difference between being a good gamer and a bad gamer. A good gamer just is so used to games, he knows what to expect. I mean, yes, there's a sense of, there might be something around this corner, I really don't want to face it, but it's not a sense of, oh, okay, I'm safe now, nothing will ever jump out at me again. I can't scream, can't scream.
Just too much manliness.
It sort of pushes down the pitch needed for screaming. But that's about it. And I'm happy that they decided to take it Dead Space 3 to a more action area. I mean, I'm not a guy in it for the gameplay, really. I'm always in there for the story. Straight up. So, as long as they don't mess with the story badly, I'm fine to keep on going.
Yeah, I suppose.
And sticking well enough to the story, Isaac Clarke is no longer finding it scary. He knows it's about the action and he could die. So, switching it to an action type game, made it feel better.
Yeah, fits in.
I mean, hey, if anyone really wants a scary challenge, yeah, try Nightmare Mode, whatever, by yourself. Yeah, it will be hard. It will probably be a little bit scary because you're afraid of dying and resetting the whole game. Big whoops. Yeah, it's not scary when playing with co-op. It's not meant to be playing with co-op. You have some weird friend constantly yelling some sexual stuff into your ear.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing fine.
I like it.
Yeah. You ever try to pick up one of those Nick Morse? I hear you like to do the weird stuff.
But yeah, I actually found pretty funny some parts of it. Just watching the little necromorphs just struggling to get at you, just crawling at you. I actually pitied them a little. Some of them, I don't know what they were, dog-type things.
They were babies in the first game.
Yeah, they just remind me of dogs. I didn't have the heart to kill them.
That's why I had to do it for you.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more the emotionalist one here. You wuss. Well, actually, that's something I never truly understood. In the first game, they were babies from the Ishimura. That was made. I don't know why babies were on the Ishimura, but there was, and that made sense. Now, why, in a military expedition, would there be babies on a ship?
I don't know.
And the lurkers, the baby lurkers, are also down on the planet. Why?
Maybe they just need a gene pool type thing in case industrial accidents. Hey, let's grow us up a baby clone quick smart.
I don't know, like, in the first game, all the necromorphs made sense. It had a lot of science to it, at least. Some science. I had a discussion between Silent Hill with my sister before and necromorphs. And when things actually seem like they can happen, yeah, it's scary. But now we just have random necromorphs being here. Line between action and horror. Sure. But what is believable or not, I get it. And I'll probably discuss this in a video by itself, but video games, stories, everything has its own law, its own rules to its own universe. It doesn't apply by ours. Yes, of course it's not realistic, but according to its universe, is it realistic? And this time it broke that rule and it was not realistic.
Yeah, well, yeah, what you're saying is all true, but we're supposed to suspend our disbelief. And I guess they just want to have a throwback to earlier games, like, hey, remember this guy?
I suppose. After all that, we finally gather all our people together and we board a spaceship, and instead of doing what the Robert wants to do and fly on out there, we do what Ellie and Isaac want to do. We do what Carl wants to do. We head down to Talanoa?
Hey, don't bring me into this.
I can't remember the name of the planet.
Tor Volantis.
Thank you. Tor Volantis. We fly on down there. It's a one-time thing only. You're flying down there, you gotta shoot things out of the way, you gotta fly on course. And I kind of like when games do that, when they offer this cool new gameplay thing to help fit in the story. Even though it's not always gonna be there, but they make sure to fit it in so you're still having some fun. Playing by yourself, you gotta control the turrets and the flying yourself. It's not so bad. Playing with a co-op friend, you only get to do one or the other. I can fly and shoot, but I'm only forced to fly this time, and I may be better at flying.
He's a crappy pilot.
I'm not a crappy pilot. Those were cutscenes. It was pre-planned to have one of your teammates die and your ship crash. I certainly hope that's pre-planned. Unless,
alternate cutscenes?
if there are alternate cutscenes to that, I have never seen them, and I apologize to letting my crew die every time. What if there's like this whole twist thing where if you actually don't crash, you go through two whole separate levels, you get a whole different ending.
Yeah, you don't crash, you just head straight home. Screw those necromorphs, let's get out of here.
I should look it up if there's actually any way to change the cutscenes, or yes, it's all pre-planned, because every time it happens, you take a hit. And I just assume it's you failing to shoot something.
Yeah, sure. Blame the gunner.
You are a horrible gunner.
Because you keep moving me out of the range of it.
I have to stay on course and dodge everything you're not shooting.
Well, if you stayed still, there wouldn't be anything to dodge.
Oh, except the huge space parts that you actually can't blow up.
Just get bigger guns.
We don't have time for bigger guns. After that, we lose Ellie, we lose half the ship, and we are flying out into the surface. But we're here. We're finally on the planet, and we're treated to a whole new game. It's no longer the corridors and the edges and the hallways. You're in this open world. And believe it or not, that's actually a little bit more scary because half the time these necromorphs, they don't need to come out of the fence now. They are under the snow anywhere.
Hell, One time they literally just came up half a centimetre in front of me, just straight out of the snow.
And that's probably the best way for them to be scary, because there's no way of predicting that. You can sometimes see them move through the ground, but not all the time.
And not to mention we're freezing our asses off.
That was a great new concept, the fact that we had to stay near fire or heat to live.
Yeah.
They really should have thrown a lot more necromorph killing in between that, and kept it fresh like it was. During the first initial being there on the planet, there's a blizzard, you don't get to see much, and we just keep travelling. We find settlements here and there, we hear a little bit about what it was like to live here. The first time we finally get inside, we find a member of our missing crew. He's dead. He's told us the others have moved on to the next area, and that we can find suits downstairs. As of course we're going downstairs, we run into this giant crab creature that crawls all over our building.
Yeah, we need Rody to slay it.
Crab Slayer! I would like to actually get this out there. Yes, we are bronies. Yes, the first video we did was brony related. No brony related stuff is not going to be our focus. But there is a lot of content out there by the community that there is always going to be bound to be something worth looking into and talking about to us.
Yeah.
Just
want to throw it out there.
No, it's like, I don't mind making a reference here and there, but I want people to understand that this is not just a brony thing. Tell us what you want, people! We're desperate. VanGuard will do anything. When you went to that drag party, well, did girls in guy clothes?
Mustaches.
Beards? Were any of them natural? Look, if I can't find a nice black Icelandic man, I need a woman with a beard and a mustache. I'll settle for that.
Lowering your standards?
Quite considerably, yes. If you have to settle, you have to settle for something manly. And what's more manly than a woman with a mustache and a beard?
Yeah.
You saw Kick-Ass 2?
Yeah.
Mother Russia. All Mother Russia needed was a beard, and that should be the pinnacle of manliness.
Absolutely.
Back on topic.
We're in the snow, freezing our asses off.
No, we're just out of the snow, because we're in this building,
yes.
and we go downstairs, and that's probably where we meet these skeleton-like creatures, the easiest kills in the game, and we just, blitz through the place. We're done. We get some nice new kicks. We got these nice little snowsuits, and we're out there. We're done.
And I'm looking like a pimpin' Santa Claus. My red suit.
I mean, hey, you killed the children already. Maybe you did the naughty version of Santa Claus.
Come and sit on my lap.
Is that coal I feel in your pocket pants, eh?
Absolutely.
But we get outside and we're no longer freezing. That whole concept of freezing, it's taken away. We no longer have to be worried about this new thing. And it's never brought back.
Yeah, we only had it for a couple minutes.
I think it would be nice to have that worry every now and then. But we move on, we're past the blizzard, and then we're finally introduced what the planet looks like. We get a good taste of music, and the sun comes out.
Absolutely breathtaking.
And the rest of the game sort of follows that concept. Go to the next building, do what you have to, go through scenario areas, kill what comes up. Eventually come across the crab and eventually slay it. And then you got a whole bunch of cutscenes that most of our viewers should know by now. I have to say, one of the most annoying cutscenes is always with Robert. He locks you in a cage. He's just, I mean, not only is he being a dick, but he's also being an idiot.
And he leaves me with Isaac. I mean, I don't want to be left there, but, right, no one cares about Carver.
That's the most amusing thing, actually, for the game. No one, the cutscenes are made to adjust you in it, but when the actual characters start talking, where's Carver?
Ellie mentioned me at least once in the game.
Yeah, near the end. It's like, Carver's just almost non-existent, and that's probably where the letdown of cop comes. But Robert, when he leaves you locked in a cage, you can easily get out. He's making stupid moves.
Takes all of 4 seconds.
He makes stupid moves, and you'd think from someone like him who wants to protect Ellie and be with her, he'd be smarter about this. He'd be playing an act. But no. Bringing back, if you want to bring a reference, he's like Queen Chrysalis. He is a horrible actor, and he's just easily letting everything go instead of trying to play it cool. I think if Robert tried to play it cool and play on that side of things, let us trust him before he betrays us. He would have been a nicer guy, a nicer villain to have. I mean, he wasn't really a villain in the end, but still would have been nice to have him like that.
He was thinking about the best for Ellie. He wanted to get her off the planet. trying to trade for a ship.
Then comes, like, immediately after that part, we are introduced to a Nexus. Let's ignore the fact that we have to call inside a Nexus. We are treated to a nice living Nexus. The enemy, the final boss from the first game, is now our midway game boss. Before we even slay the giant crab, he's a midway game boss. Our first official boss that we can kill. I don't know, like, compared to the first game, he was kind of a letdown.
Yeah, hell, to be honest, I didn't even realize he was a boss.
Well, I assume it was. I mean, he eats you. That's pre-planned. You thought I was dead, jerk.
I mean, I'd try to run away without you, but yeah. Steve Isaac, he wants to be the most popular guy.
I mean, like, yeah, it's cool to kill this thing inside of it and not just die. I don't know, as a necromorph, you think this thing would be able to disintegrate you while you're in it, and if you can just kill it from the inside, why even bother attacking on the outside? Just let it eat you the first time. What made you so scared of it in the first game? It sort of feels bad to just have it so weak. To be,
I know there's progression, you've got more experience now, you're bigger, badder, but just diminishing power of a boss like that.
I know, and even at the same time, to have a big boss like that, and then to have almost no enemies with that bigger progression next. I mean, the crab was kind of difficult, but the next bigger enemies are near the end of the game when you're fighting the alien necromorphs, like the true alien necromorphs. They were kind of hard, but there's nothing of big progression, no big baddies compared to Nexus.
Yeah.
And the absolute final boss, the Moon, it was cool. We had these awesome telekinesis powers, throwing markers into its eyes, and we're done. All it did was spew some monsters out of us. It didn't even throw a tentacle at us. It did not even throw a tentacle at us. It just
could have cracked our platform in half and, okay, whatever, you're dead.
Maybe it would have been cool to have some flying during that combat scene, I don't know, but that...
And the pods of Necromorphs and Fluid didn't even attempt to hit us with it, the hardest part was probably just hitting it with the markers.
Did you get a single shot?
I hit it. Maybe not necessarily its eye, but I hit it.
It's pretty hard to miss.
Well, it's only got one... Yeah.
I
feel ashamed.
The bosses are a letdown in this game, and that's a sad fact.
For me, still the biggest, scariest thing in the game, scariest was just those creepy... I wasn't even that scared, it's just creepy as hell. Giant soldiers, wherever barrels and stuff were. And the hardest thing, probably that third delusion as Carver. I didn't even know what I was supposed to do with the shadow demons chasing me.
So, movie fantasy, Robert dies, Santos dies due to Carver, and throughout all, we're just seeing Carver be a jerk. And I know the co-op missions are made to make you feel better, but I mean, it doesn't feel like whether we play the co-op missions or not, it doesn't really change anything. So it doesn't really feel like Carver is becoming a better guy. I mean, he says some inspiring stuff near the end of the game about redemption, but if you didn't play for the co-op missions, he'd say it anyway. It's just like, you're asking about redemption after killing Santos now? I get it, you have other things, you have issues, but it would be nice to see Carver get a resolution. The story itself, ignoring the bosses, ignoring the gameplay, I love the story. I mean, yes, there were a few problems with it here and there, but I still really loved it. I liked the scenes between Ellie and Isaac, believing Ellie was dead and then having her alive. Isaac being filled with rage. I think one of my favourite scenes was just rushing down the tunnel to chase after Danik to kill him. Yes. I had my shotgun and flamethrower, and there's just a bunch of Marines in your way and a few Necromorphs. You burn them, you hit them, you shoot them, you just blind rage, you just keep on going down.
Just repelling.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always nice to mix up the gameplay.
Yeah, there are beautiful scenes, some fun gameplay here and there. It's not bad gameplay either.
Yeah.
It's just
entertaining.
Room for improvement. It's not bad because it's action. It's just bad because they didn't take it to the next level of action. They're still sticking to some of the horror elements, and had things a lot of difficulty. Some things that should have been improved also. But even so, they took a big leap. They changed things, and I don't know, if you were to play Call of Duty every year, we got a game that comes out every couple of years, and it takes changes, it jumps, it moves on.
Say what you will about Call of Duty. Yeah, they release another one every year, and it's kind of the same game, but they do change it. Up the ante a bit.
Each one has its details, and who knows, maybe we'll do something about Call of Duty game one day. Maybe they'll make a Call of Duty we like.
I'm a Halo fanboy.
So am I.
Speaking of, having not played Dead Space since the first one came out, really, which is, I don't know how many years ago, 5 or so, the entire not the entire campaign, but lots of it just screamed out Halo Flood to me. The necromorphs just, little tiny head things just reanimating corpses you've already killed.
I can cut you off here? I understand what you're getting at, but something I've always wanted to bring up about any Dead Space game. It doesn't remind me of Halo with the Flood. It reminds me of a game called Run Like Hell. You ever heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Played it on the PS2. The whole idea is you're some marine security guard for the space station. You go off on an excavation mission with some girl, and when you come back, almost everyone in the spaceship is dead. You need to figure out why, and then immediately, as you're getting off your ship and going to unlock a door, the girl you're with and the ship you're just on, the mini-ship, gets crushed by this huge titan known as a brute. It crushes the ship. It kills her in one hit. It rips her in half, actually, sorry. And then you're treated to a quick time offense where you're running down the hallway, jumping or skidding, and who knows what. And then you meet one of your most awesome teammates ever called Dax. This, almost a tiger alien sort of creature, and he shoots the brute, locks the door away, sends the brute out into space after blowing a hole in the wall, pulls you to safety, then closes the door, sorry. Then you start a team. I won't go into detail of the game, mind you. But
2 for 1.
The aliens, they're taking over ship. There are, and literally, the running aliens, which come out of portals on the wall, at any time, mind you. Sure, it's always the same time, but you don't hear them coming, so it's freaky. And it's third person, where you have to lock onto your enemy, so you don't just always see them. They remind me so much of necromorphs. And the strange thing is, they have nerves in their whole bodies. You don't aim for the heads of these aliens either. You aim for their limb. Eventually, just like in Dead Space 1, the alien stuff that these guys are made of is starting to cover the ship and transform it. Just like Dead Space 1.
Also Halo.
Yeah. But I think this came out before. Oh no, it probably came out after, but either way. You're both, like Isaac, you're looking for your girlfriend this whole time, who has been dead the whole time as well.
Oh no, just for me it screamed out.
That's all I can think of. The reason why I played Dead Space 1 ever. I saw a trailer and I saw a horror and I was like, can't be bothered. But then as I looked more and I was like, actually, this kind of reminds me like Run Like Hell. I loved that game. It had an awesome story. It had awesome music. And even though it was these huge hallways a lot of time in whiteness instead of black, instead of darkness, a lot of light, it was just so fast that it was still scary. There were creatures coming everywhere. There was behind you all the time. Why can't Dead Space 1 be more like this older game? It was more beautiful. You're in space. You get to look out at the stars a lot more in Run Like Hell. And Dead Space 1, you're in a plantation room. How is that related to Dead Space? How is that related to space? My biggest problem with the whole Dead Space series is that I wanted it to be more like Run Like Hell. And that's it. I suppose that's why I don't ever see the way most games people play it how they want it to be horror. Because I played a game that Dead Space may as well have been based on, and it was about the story more than anything, and I loved it. And I hope that Dead Space will one day become like it.
It's an interesting take on it.
Last thing I would probably like to bring up about Dead Space 4, and this is the fact that the suits you get in Dead Space compared to Dead Space 3 compared to Dead Space 2 are horrible. We should have had the advanced suit that we get in Dead Space 2. But besides from that, I've given my opinions. The story was brilliant, though lacking in little areas. The gameplay was great, although could have been made up. The bosses should have been harder. And the ending to game, not going into DLC of course, was quite brilliant and could stand alone as a nice ending to the game. If the DLC wasn't added, I mean, it could be a nice ending to the whole series if the DLC is not added.
Yeah. The DLC, from what I can tell, is just...
It feels a bit lacking, but it
Yeah.
pretty much sets up that all the moons have awakened and they're come to Earth. Yes, Halo. That I will make it kind of like Halo. And honestly, yes, gives you more story. You can do a lot more stuff, but hey, you have a good ending. Either create a new enemy or end it like you did.
Yeah, I don't think another Dead Space 4 with the same enemies.
No. They're not going to be ripping off Red like hell in the next game. It's going to be Mass Effect.
Hmm.
It could work.
Could, I suppose.
Yeah.
Just like Dystopia doesn't have the ending of Mass Effect 3.
Anyway, I'll say I think I've had enough of my talking, and I know anybody who's watching this has probably had enough of hearing me. I know you've had enough hearing me.
I can listen to your voice all day.
I can listen to you anytime.
Dead Space 3. Pretty good gameplay. Music here and there.
You should play it, if you get it from the Humble Bundle like Vanguard here did, you can get it for some pretty cheap prices. You should definitely get around playing if you haven't. I don't know why you sort of listen to this if you haven't. This is more a place to hear opinions about the game more than whether you should play it or not. Maybe we'll do a review down the line.
Mm.
But, hey, give it a chance if you actually haven't, and if you did, tell us what you thought about what we thought about. Tell us what you actually thought about the game, and whether you disapprove of us or like what we've been saying.
Leave us a comment, insult us, thank us, whatever. Love to hear from you.
We really would like some comments, please. Till next time, you have been listening to The After Dark with your faithful host, Neil Hopper, and his lovely assistant, Vanguard. You will be lovely next time when we cure you of your scabs and scurvy.
Oh, next time I might be naked.
Well, so hope you are. Till then.
We'll be seeing you.